Hello fantasy managers, today we've got the first draft for the Euro Fantasy team selection. In this video we're going to take a look at the full squad of 15 players that we have selected for the Euro Fantasy. As I said before, this is the first draft, so there will be changes made in the future. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to show support for the channel, and share this video with your friends if you guys are enjoying this type of content. With that being said, let's get into the video. So taking a look at the team, starting off with the goalkeepers, starting for the first game week is going to be Kasper Schmeichel. Schmeichel seems to be decent value at the back for £5 million and is only selected by 13% of managers. Also, Denmark have quite a promising group in which they face Finland, Belgium and Russia, which you could back in Denmark to get a couple of clean sheets. Just considering how well Schmeichel has played for Leicester this season, you would back him in to get a few returns in goals. And for the second goalkeeper, we've gone with Lukas Hradecky, who's playing for Finland, coming in at just £4 million. He seems to be the best option as a goalkeeper around this price tag, as Finland are in the same group as Denmark, which is pretty promising. Finland face Denmark, Russia and Belgium, which seems like a decent group, obviously apart from Belgium, which are a solid side, but at just a 9% ownership, and once again that very cheap price makes him a very good option. Now moving on to the defenders, starting off with Harry Maguire. Maguire is coming in at £5.5 million and looks to be decent value in that England defence compared to the likes of Luke Shaw at £6 million and Ben Chilwell at £6 million, as well as Trent Alexander-Arnold at £6.5 million, so he is most likely going to be the cheapest starting defender. He does have the potential to get forward and get himself a header goal, and he will also be able to cash in on England's clean sheets, as they have a decent group as well, where they face Croatia, Scotland and the Czech Republic. You would no doubt expect England to dominate this group and get quite a few clean sheets, and if Harry Maguire does offer that good attacking potential of those header goals, then he could be a good option in the back. Also, Maguire only has a 12% ownership compared to the other England defenders of Luke Shaw, who has a 27% ownership and is the second highest owned defender in the game, Ben Chilwell with a 15% ownership, and Trent Alexander-Arnold with a 14% ownership. So I just think at his decent price tag and fairly low ownership, he is a very good option to have at the back. Moving on to Matthijs de Ligt, it is definitely crucial to have a Netherlands defender for the Euros, as their group is so good. They face Ukraine, Austria and North Macedonia, but you can only imagine they could get 2 or maybe even 3 clean sheets in the group stage. And considering that de Ligt can get forward and get header goals as well, he could be a decent option to have. Looking at the other Netherlands defenders, you could go for the likes of Van Dijk, but for that price point down of just £5.5 million, de Ligt could be decent value at the back to cash in on that very solid Netherlands defence. Moving on to Jan Bednarek, he is the budget option at defence with our only £4.5 million price tag. He has an okay group of Slovakia, Spain and Sweden. Spain is obviously the standout team in that group, but for his very low £4.5 million price tag, he could be a decent shout. Poland do have a fairly solid defence with the likes of Fabianski, Glick and Bednarek as the back 3. Also in just 4% of teams, Bednarek could be a decent differential option and just great value at the back. And moving on to Gianni Alioski, coming in at just £4.5 million with a very low 2% ownership, I think he could offer something very good in the attacking sense for North Macedonia. Obviously they have a very decent group of Austria, Ukraine and Netherlands, which are some decent teams, but this is definitely one of the easier groups in the Euros, and just considering how much Alioski offers on the attack, he does look like he plays in the middle of the park for North Macedonia as well, so for just £4.5 million, to get a fairly attacking midfielder as listed as a defender could be a decent shout. And looking at the other defender, he's currently sitting on our bench purely based on the fact that he plays on the 16th compared to the other players that play on the 13th and 14th of June. Luca Dean is such a great option at the back for France. France, obviously the reigning world champions, have a very good team this season, and at just 5% ownership, Luca Dean could be a great option at the back. There is no doubt that France have a very solid defence with the likes of Lloris, Dean, Varane and Longley at the back. They do have a tricky group though of Germany, Hungary and Portugal, and just considering how attacking Luca Dean is, getting up and down the flanks and putting in a few crosses as well, he could be a great option to have. Moving on to the midfielders, starting off with Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne is the most owned player in Euro Fantasy this season with a 35% ownership, coming in at £10.5 million. This man obviously needs no introduction as he is such a solid player. He should be on penalties as well for Belgium, if not Lukaku will be on them, but De Bruyne just offers so much in attack, and Belgium have a very good side and also have a very nice group which includes Russia, Denmark and Finland, which you would expect Belgium to dominate. So I just think De Bruyne is such a good option to have because he's the highest owned player. Moving on, Mason Mount is coming in at £7 million and looks like a decent value option in the middle of the park. He did score quite a few goals for England in the World Cup qualifiers and is only owned by 15% of managers, and as I said before, England have a very good group of Croatia, Scotland and Czech Republic. He is just an essential option to have in the middle of the park for me. Moving on, we've gone with Thomas Holes, who is coming in at £4.5 million and is the cheapest midfielder in the game that actually starts. With a 20% ownership, he is also one of the top owned players in the middle of the park. He's in the same group as England as he faces Scotland, Croatia and England. So I just think for £4.5 million, he can just chip in with a couple of points here and there, and he's just good for freeing up money elsewhere in the squad. And then currently on the bench in the midfield, we've gone with David Alaba as he plays on the 16th of June. So that's why we've left him out on the bench. We will be subbing him on mid-game week most likely. But he does play in the midfield for Austria, and they have a very decent group of North Macedonia, Netherlands and the Ukraine, which hopefully he can get some attacking returns in, and just at £5.5 million, he does seem like the best option for that price tag, and considering that he's only owned by 8% of managers, he could be a good differential shout. And to cap off the midfield, we've gone with Loic Nago, who is coming in at £4 million. He is the minimum price for midfielders, and he does start for Hungary as well, which is very good. He is actually the third highest owned player in the game, just because he is so cheap and he gets starts. Despite Hungary having a very difficult group of Portugal, France and Germany, you obviously wouldn't expect Hungary to go too far in the tournament, but for his £4 million price tag, he is good value. And now moving on to the forwards, we've gone with three very strong players up top, starting off with Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe is the second highest owned player in Euro Fantasy with a very high 32% ownership, only behind Kevin De Bruyne. At £12 million, he is one of the premium options to have in the game, but he is obviously a world-class striker and he's going to be getting so much service playing for France. As I touched on before, France have a very good team, and Mbappe will no doubt be getting plenty of chances and getting plenty of goals throughout the tournament. Despite having the difficult group of Germany, Hungary and Portugal, you would expect France to advance as they are the reigning world champions, and you just expect Mbappe to get so many goals throughout the tournament, and that's why he's in the squad. Moving on to another big player up top, it is Harry Kane. Kane is the second highest owned forward in the game with a 28% ownership, and is also another premium option at £11.5 million. England have a great group of Croatia, Scotland and Czech Republic, and you would just expect Harry Kane to get so many goals as he is the leading goal scorer and assist getter in the Premier League this season. He is coming into some great form going into the Euros. And to cap off the star-studded four line, it is Memphis Depay coming in at £10 million. As I touched on before, the Netherlands have a very good group of Ukraine, Austria and North Macedonia, and you would expect Memphis to get quite a lot of goals throughout the group stage. At just a 6% ownership, I think he is a great differential shot up top compared to the other premium options of Ciro Immobile, Romelu Lukaku or Cristiano Ronaldo. Memphis Depay was scoring for fun in the World Cup qualifiers for Netherlands, and you just think this form would continue in the Euros. With Memphis Depay being the main attacking threat for Netherlands, you can expect him to get all the service and for him to be getting plenty of chances, which hopefully he can convert against his very good group. So overall the team is coming in at £100 million, which does mean we have zero in the remaining budget, but obviously we will be making some changes before the Euros start to free up some funds or strengthen certain parts of the team, so stick around for those videos in the future. So that's what we've got for today for the first draft Euro Fantasy team selection. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to show support for the channel, and once again share this video with your friends if you guys are enjoying this type of content. Also leave a comment what your first draft is looking like, and with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.